downstairs, not the one here that we're remodeling downstairs. So we need to go to the ground floor if the weather does, we do get warned. So stairwells, if you can. So with that, we'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. If we could please keep Mr. Groves in our thoughts and minds before this meeting. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Roll call.
16 present with members Bryant and Salzer absent.
Next, that would be, is there a motion to accept the minutes? Member Rosenbaum, Member Ruland. Any comments, corrections? Seeing none, please cast your vote. Member Allison will be a voice vote. She said it.
Member Daly? Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and mark you, Member Alcesser. And Mrs. Groves Allison. Aye. Member Ricker? Okay. Member Daly, if you'd like to let me know, then we can close the vote. All right, thank you. "16 ayes, 0 nays. Next would be proclamations and presentations.
So that would bring us to a proclamation recognizing and congratulating Hair Nursery on the occasion of their 100th anniversary. Nate, you want to come up? Bring your family? Marsha? So, Nate, welcome back to the Horseshoe. You're no stranger, and appreciate all your service on the Board of Health. Oop, yeah. Right, you guys go back. Welcome, Nate. Thank you. Whereas Hair Nursery is celebrating 100 years in business in Peoria in 2026, and whereas David August D.A. Hair began delivering topsoil and performing landscaping jobs in 1926 to help supplement his income as a coal delivery driver during the warmer summer months. And whereas Hair Nursery was originally operated from the family home on Big Hollow Road, relocating to the Garden Center on War Memorial Drive in 1950, and later to the site along Route 91 in 1974. And whereas Hair Nursery has grown into a multi-million-dollar family business operated by the third generation of the Hair family, who manages about 400 acres in the Peoria area for production of trees, plants, and sod. Whereas Hair Nursery operates as a plant nursery, sod grower, garden center, and lawn and landscape service provider with an experienced and dedicated staff of landscape architects, horticulturists, certified arborists, and Illinois certified nursery professionals providing service to customers. Now, therefore, I, James C. Dillon, Chairperson of the Peoria County Board, on behalf of the Peoria County Board, do hereby recognize and congratulate Hair Nursery on the occasion of their 100th anniversary. Congratulations, Nate. You want to introduce everybody and say a few words?
Sure. Well, thank you very much. I've got some key members here. I've got Ernie, who's in charge of our growing team, green team. Kelly's works in our garden center, but taking over our social media. Sam, he's one of the best rock layers around on our landscape crew. This is my wife, Suzanne, one of the best people around. This is Jada, Jeff's wife, one of my partners. And of course, you all know Marcia. So just thank you. First, I want to give thanks for the foundation that DA, my grandpa, provided, and along with my Uncle John, who is, I'm going to get emotional as usual, my Uncle John and Aunt Dorothy, my Uncle Rudy and Aunt Annie, and then my dad, Jim, and my mom, Virginia, providing a great foundation for us to build on for 100 years. And then all of our great employees. I can't say enough about all of them. And just a word of thanks, too, for Peoria County and just the great customers that we have that continue to propel our business into the next 100 years. So thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Next, a proclamation proclaiming June 2026 as Migraine Awareness Month in Peoria County. Eden?
Alicia Friedman here with me. For any of those like us who live with chronic migraine, you'll know you have one today because the barometric pressure has caused one this whole week. I can see why you're doing this time of year, because the weather at this time of year. Whereas headache disorders, including migraine, cluster headache, new daily persistent headache, spinal CSF leak, orofacial pain disorders, and other neurological headache diseases affect more than 40 million Americans and over 1.1 billion people worldwide. And headache diseases are among the leading causes of disability globally, disproportionately impacting women, veterans, and historically marginalized communities. An estimated 4 million Americans live with chronic migraine, experiencing symptoms 15 or more days per month. Yet access to specialized care remains limited, and significant racial and socioeconomic disparities persist, with Black, Hispanic, and Native Indigenous populations facing higher rates of underdiagnosis and inadequate treatment. And veterans and military personnel experience higher rates of post-traumatic headache and migraine due to traumatic brain injuries sustained in service. And headache diseases place a severe economic burden, costing U.S. companies over $78 billion annually in lost productivity and healthcare expenses. And stigma and misinformation have historically stifled research, treatment innovation, and public awareness, leaving many patients undiagnosed and untreated. And all individuals living with headache diseases deserve equitable, timely, and affordable access to effective treatments to improve their quality of life. Now, therefore, I, James C. Dillon, Chairperson of the Peoria County Board, on behalf of the Peoria County Board, do hereby proclaim June 26th as Migraine and Headache Awareness Month in Peoria County. Encourage all citizens, healthcare professionals, and policymakers to support awareness, research, and improve access for headache disease. Normally I come up here and just start spouting off, but because of the weather, I am in a huge flare tonight, so the brain fog is real. Chairperson Dillon, County Board, thank you for the issuance of this proclamation and for recognizing the importance of acknowledging migraine and headache.
There were some big numbers read in the proclamation for the amount of people living with migraine. It's now grown to 2.9 billion people globally, still around 40 million in the US alone. But I'd like to share a few statistics that are a little closer to home. Keep in mind that these numbers are only for chronic migraine, and they are only for people diagnosed with migraine. They do not account for anyone undiagnosed or anyone that lives with a different headache diagnosis, and there are over 250 different headache diagnoses. This data is current as of October 2025. Population of Illinois is approximately 12,589,032 persons. In Illinois, the state prevalence of migraine is 1,888,355 persons, or 15% of the population. Even closer to home, in the 16th and 17th congressional districts that encompass Peoria, there are 857,077 persons, or 0.81% of the state population, that live with chronic migraine. Illinois only has 25 United Council for Neurologic Subspecialties certified headache specialists. That is one provider for every 34,284 persons living with migraine. Because of this and other states, in person on Capitol Hill every spring and virtually every fall, the Alliance for Headache Disorders Advocacy hosts Headache on the Hill. Hundreds of advocates from nearly every state spend a Tuesday with our elected leaders discussing important legislation benefiting the migraine and headache community. This past February, we had 282 advocates from 47 states who conducted 280 congressional meetings. I myself had 9 meetings that day on just that Tuesday. I am honored to be the state captain for Illinois and sometimes for other states. I'm also honored to be advocating for the first ever standalone piece of legislation to benefit the migraine and headache community. Last September, Representatives Trahon and Fitzpatrick introduced H.R. 5536, known as the Headache Act. This legislation, which was authored by AHDA's executive director, will create a National Headache Disorders Initiative, which will build the infrastructure needed to improve diagnosis, strengthen care, reduce stigma, and grow the headache clinical and research workforce. We are continuing to gain bipartisan support, and I request and encourage everyone to reach out to our representatives and senators to sign on as co-sponsors for this legislation. Again, thank you for taking the time to recognize that June is Migraine and Headache Awareness Month, because each moment of recognition and awareness is one moment that stigma doesn't get to win.
Thank you. Next, a proclamation recognizing Peoria Proud for their extensive contributions to the Peoria area's LGBTQ plus community. Member Renaud.
There we go. Come on up. Everybody come on. Happy Pride. Okay, it's that time of year again. Whereas Peoria County recognizes Peoria Proud for their commitment to promoting equality and equity and diversity, fostering community unity through advocacy, education, and social outreach. Peoria Proud provides venues and opportunities for individual and community growth, creating safe spaces for members of marginalized communities to assemble, especially during Pride Month, recognized in June. Peoria Proud stands for societal progress, peace, and unity through events such as the River City Pride Fest, held this year on July 18th, 2026, down on the riverfront. Peoria Proud offers numerous resources to LGBTQ plus community, such as abuse hotlines, affirming faith communities, physical and mental health care postings, connections with other LGBTQ plus organizations, and more. Peoria Proud remains dedicated to advancing the goals of justice, empowerment, community, inclusion, and freedom in the greater Peoria area. Therefore, I, James C. Dillon, Chairperson of the Peoria County Board, on behalf of the County Board, do hereby recognize Peoria Proud for their extensive contributions to our area's LGBTQ plus community.
I will keep this short with the weather coming in. My name is Jake Bowers. I'm the president of Peoria Proud, joined here by Ren Parker, Charlize Lee, and Hannah, I can't pronounce your last name. All board members serving on Peoria Proud. I just want to thank the county board for this recognition. Visibility is really important, and it means a lot. So thank you.
We have no citizens' remarks. So next would be consent agenda.
Is there a motion for the consent agenda? Member Duncan, Member Phelan. Would anybody like any numbers removed? Member Daly?
Yes, I'd like to pull 8.16, the Hamilton parking deck improvement.
Thank you, Member Daly. Anything else? Member Blair?
Can I pull 8.14?
Which one is 8.1?
Yeah, the pavement management.
Pavement management. Okay. Yep. Member Ricker?
And I'm asking to have 8.11.
Okay. Anything else? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
See the mic's on. Okay. Member Groves Allison?
Aye.
Fifteen ayes, 0 nays. 15 ayes. Should be 16. Go back. She left the meeting. I never hit that. Member McCann, how would you like to vote? For some reason, it's showing you left the meeting, and I never hit that. So I'm going to have to manually put that. Okay. 16 ayes, 0 nays. Next would be item 8.11.
Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Member Ricker, Member Blair.
Okay, I pulled this one. I'd like to give the health department and the United Way maybe a short window of time just to explain the transition of this role and responsibility. In committee, I asked a lot of questions. I don't want to get that deep, but Monica wasn't there. We have Jennifer Zamuto here from United Way, and we have Monica Hendrickson. So I asked them if they just give a brief kind of the transition from United Way to our health department.
Thank you. Welcome, Monica. Welcome, Jennifer.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for the Health Committee and your approval of the process thus far. Early in March, through leadership changes at the Continuum of Care program area, the United Way was looking at, just as with any type of program, assessing kind of what next steps are. Working together, we've had a long history, especially the health department, in items such as housing related to our public health equity fund and some of the other projects we work with the United Way. And so we started due diligence with our board member. We had an ad hoc committee to start looking at the process of taking on the Continuum of Care's planning grant. And just for clarity, The planning grant really is a strategic grant that helps support alignment within a 4-county area of programs and making sure that we put ourselves in the best position to obtain federal funding. There is no direct provider services as part of it, but I'll let Jennifer kind of talk a little bit more detail about the transition.
I think really this is collaboration at its finest. In other communities, it could be very easy for one of us to say, no, this is mine and I want to keep it. Being the host for Home for All it's an important role. It helps our community do the best job it can to support those who are experiencing homelessness. And I think Dr. Stoner said it best, housing is healthcare and healthcare is housing. And so it's a very natural place for Home for All to sit at the health department. Certainly, it'll be a collaborative effort going forward, and we're really excited to support this work with the health department and Monica's team.
And for this first year, just because of timing and making sure that the board wanted to work with the United Way as well as the Continuum of Care board and doing the due diligence, for this first year, the planning grant starts on July 1st. The United Way has gone ahead and submitted their kind of paperwork or intent to be the lead agency this year, this grant year, which is July 1st to June 30th. We will be their only sub-grantee on it. And in fact, the United Way will actually bring in the match dollars that go with it. So this first year will be the sub-grantee. We'll go through the notice of funding opportunity with them. And then next year, we will actually take on the full intent of it with HUD directly. This will be our second HUD grant. We already have a lead Healthy Homes grant. So a lot of the federal paperwork and documentation is already actually done. It's a really clean transition for us.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, Chairman Renault, for taking this on. And Monica, you and your team and Jennifer at United Way are always top notch in making something that could have been difficult, as you said, very smooth transition. So much appreciated to both of your leaderships, or all three of your leaderships. Seeing none, please cast your vote.
Member Groves Allison. Sixteen ayes, 0 nays. Next would be item 8.14, pavement management agreement. A resolution from your infrastructure committee recommending approval of a cooperative research agreement with Bradley University in the amount of $37,135.
Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Member Couch and Member Williams. Member Blair?
I will be abstaining as it involves my employer.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? This is a great program that we do every year. All right, seeing none, please cast your vote.
Member Groves Allison. Fifteen ayes and 1 abstention. Next would be item 8.16. Hamilton Park Deck Improvement Bid Letting. A resolution from your infrastructure committee recommending approval of a low bid for the renovation rehabilitation of the existing parking facility located at 300 Hamilton Boulevard. A total project cost of $380,174.
Is there a motion to put this on the floor? Member Couch and Member Rutland. Member Daly?
Yes, I'm not on the infrastructure committee, but I was hoping that somebody could walk me through how we started with the low bid of $223,000 and ended up with a total of $380,000 for the project.
Thank you, Member Daly. Have Administrator Smith handle this. Shauna? Kyle, floor is yours.
Good evening again. So I can, to the best of my ability, try and walk you through how we got to where we are as far as funding goes. So the county has an arrangement that they entered into over a year ago at this point, where PJ Hare is our contracted construction manager for everything that isn't the courthouse. So parking deck, for example, jail, any other outlying buildings. We have a similar arrangement with Core Construction for all projects at the courthouse. So these were competitively bid, and we have entered into agreements. They serve as our construction managers in those capacities. So with this being the parking deck, PJ Hare by contract would be our construction management company. It had been determined through some capital planning and some study work that the parking deck was in need of repairs. The stairwells specifically, they're not being conditioned. Of course, they get a lot of humidity, a lot of moisture, that type of thing. The stair runners themselves are metal. They've seen better days. So the stairwells need quite a bit of attention. This was one of the first projects when I got to the county that we decided to embark on, and in fact, it was the first project that we decided to move forward with this new arrangement with PJ Hare. And so at the time, we were still trying to build the airplane while we were trying to take off. And so that's part of the discrepancy of why this came last fall to you all with the GMP and why we're just back now. Since this time, we have figured out there's a better way, there's a better process. We've worked, myself and CFO McCord, her team, the procurement office, we've worked hand in hand with PJ Hare and with Core to determine how these projects were going to be put out to bid. Initially, I think the way that it was conceived is that PJ Hare or Core, their construction management firm, they would handle all of the subcontractor bidding themselves. We decided that we weren't comfortable with that being representatives of taxpayer dollars. We wanted to make sure that Peoria County was involved in that all of our well-established processes were followed when it came time for subcontractor selection. So that's when we made the decision that we being the county, the procurement, the finance department, we would handle that internally. So again, we saw a need in the parking deck. We came to you for a GMP, not understanding yet that we would instead want to take that subcontractor bidding piece internal. And that was a bit of a Rubik's Cube, frankly, figuring out how that would work and what that would look like. And it took months of work in document development with both PJ Hare and the finance team. Member Daly, I'm getting to your question. It requires a bit of backstory. So, okay, great, thank you. So this, in the meantime, in the intervening time, while all this was going on, there were other projects that bubbled to the top, and specifically the what we referred to as kitchen renovation 0.5 at the jail, which was a desperate need of replacement of several pieces of equipment, some electrical upgrades, some HVAC upgrades. So that was actually the first project that we ran through with this newly established system. And the system, it worked well. We felt it kept us in compliance, it kept things transparent, and we felt like we got a lot of value for our dollars. And so now we're coming back with this project and kind of this was that weird first project that almost got caught in kind of the interstitial space. So that's kind of the big gap between last October and now. We have the process figured out. We've run it. We've run another project that bubbled to the top of our importance ladder first. That's the delay in bringing it back to you. How we arrived at the pricing for this, again, PJ Hare, contractually, they are our construction management firm. In their contract, they are allowed by right to self-perform, but they have to follow the same process as any other subcontractor would that wants to bid on that work. To that end, with this particular project, it's not a particularly attractive project, I don't think. And so there was no other competition as far as bidding on it. Now, it was a formal bidding process run by CFO McCord and her procurement folks. It was sealed bid, it was advertised appropriately, and the sealed bid was open. PJ Hare happened to be the only bidder, and so by default, they were the low bidder, low qualified bidder as well. Their bid, to Member Daly's point, did come in significantly under that originally established GMP. That's the good news. So what you see in here, there was a base bid for the general trades package of $200,555 that we're recommending approval of. There was also a painting trades package in here of $22,712 for a total bid project of $223,670. Now, also baked into these costs, we do have PJ Hare's additional fees as well, acting on our behalf as our construction management company. And these would have been fees that would have been incurred regardless of whoever won the subcontractor bids for the general trades and the painting project. No matter if PJ Hare completes the work or Kyle Smith Construction completes the work, we were still going to incur these construction management fees per the contract that we have established with PJ Hare. So that gets us to the additional $53,512 of construction management. The other base estimate indirect costs, again, these are costs that we incur on our other projects, performance and payment bond, builder's risk, some contingency, their overhead and profit, which is at 4.95% for a contract of this size. Again, that's per the contract that we have with PJ Hare Construction. I think the big outlier here is probably this allowance for miscellaneous repairs that we tucked in here for $70,000. In the many months that we have had to review and to work on this project, we have done our best to uncover all of our unknowns within the parking deck structure. So much so that we've had X-ray work done in the parking deck. We've had sonar work done. We've tried to do as much investigatory work as we can on the front end. I am concerned still because of the structure and because of the condition of some of the pieces of infrastructure that we are going to be touching, that there are still some unknowns. There typically is on any project. I think there is a stronger likelihood on this particular project. So again, because we had a previously established GMP and because our bids came in favorable for the county, we had some extra bandwidth here to where we could plug in the $70,000. The intent with this $70,000 is because the stairwells will be ripped apart during this project. They will be closed. There is somewhat of an urgency to keep this project moving so that we can get the stairwells back open and we're not impacting parking deck users any more than we have to. And so that's where this was put in. If an unknown or something else would present itself during the project, at an administrative level, there would be the opportunity to utilize this $70,000 to go ahead and advance the work and keep the project moving forward without first coming back to the infrastructure committee to ask to utilize the $70,000. The thought process would be we could keep the construction moving, we could utilize these funds, and then at the next at whatever the next natural interval is for that infrastructure committee meeting, we would of course present it to the infrastructure group, but at that point it would be more of an informational item. Hey, letting you know we found XYZ, and because of that we tapped into this $70,000. That's how we got to the $380,174.
Thank you. I just have one other question. Is it possible that having a guaranteed maximum price discouraged other people from bidding so that we only had one bid?
I don't think so. There was this was a good GMP. There was still clearly, I think, a lot of room in this GMP, which is evident by the fact that they were able to come in $150,000-$160,000 under the GMP. So there was plenty of room within this GMP for others to get in and bid on this project. And again, the GMP number was public, so anyone would have had equal access to it. So I don't think it put us at a disadvantage from that standpoint either. Again, I think it just comes down to the nature of this project, where the project's at, some of the containment issues with the project, and the size itself of the project. So as far as the mobilization and some of the effort that it's going to take, there's just enough other work out there right now to where I don't think this was a very attractive job.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Other questions? Thank you, Kyle. Well done.
Sorry, that was the longest spin up ever.
Well done, though.
I think the storm's passed, so at least I killed that time.
Any other questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
Member Groves Allison.
Aye.
That's okay. Aye. Okay. (16 ayes, 0 nays). Next we'd be at zoning ordinances and resolutions. Item 9.1 is professional services agreement with Barry Dunn for Tyler cashiering implementation oversight. A resolution from the County Operations Committee recommending approval for a professional services contract with Barry Dunn, McNeil and Parker LLC. Barry Dunn to provide project management and implementation oversight for Peoria County transition to the Tyler cashiering system. The cost is $87,725 for implementation and oversight services, plus a travel expense allocation estimated at $12,000 to be billed only as incurred.
Member Ricker, Member Coates. Mark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If you remember, we brought this to the board last year. There was a request to do an investigation. We hired Barry Dunn to do that, to look at how we handled accounts receivable and cashiering across the county. We turned that study over to the board members and the committee last fall, September, October, and then was given the direction to move forward with the implementation of a standard cashiering project across the county. The dollars for that project were included in the original ERP budget. There's currently about $430,000 sitting in the ERP fund that we manage. And this is the next step in that process is with an engagement with Barry Dunn to begin to move forward with the implementation of a standard cashiering package across the county.
Thank you, Mark. Questions for Mark? Seeing none. Oh, Member Ruin.
Just briefly, can you summarize what the schedule is for this? I think the convenience of being able to make online payments consistently throughout county departments is going to be very helpful, but I'm anxious to see it happen sooner than later.
As soon as if this passes, we'll kick this off and get this going. We have to go back to actually Tyler and renegotiate the price for cashiering. That price was only good originally for a year when we had those original quotes in the original bid from them. That'll be the first step and get an amendment to the current agreement for this through the state's attorney's office. It really breaks down, it's really 15 different mini projects. It's not one massive project. We'll go into those offices and standardize each one of those on the way through. Some of them will be very easy. Some of them are going to be more difficult. The ones that already have a Tyler product in them will be much easier. Those that have a third party that we're going to have to build an integration in between cashiering and our ERP system are going to be more difficult. So we haven't sat down and laid out, we're going to do this office first, this and what those timings, but it's going to take some time to get through.
That being somewhat less than specific, can you give us a guess? Are we talking 6 months? Are we talking a year? Put us in a ballpark.
I'm going to say 6 months to a year.
Thank you.
Before we get them all through all 15 of those.
Other questions?
Maybe I'll make sure that Member Rulin's question was clear. I think you're asking when the entire cashiering system will be fully implemented up and running, not when we are ready to start implementing it, correct?
Yes, when it's going to be up and running.
So is that still you'll have it up and running and totally completed in 6 to 12 months?
Probably a year. It'll take us 6 to 12 months.
Okay.
I mean,
just want to make sure.
It'll go forward in increments, office by office. Some of them are going to be very easy. Some are going to be very difficult. And I would say if this was the only project we had going on, that'd be fine. But the resources that are working on this project are currently working on 4 other projects, also all moving at the same time. So you have to balance our resources between those.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we did give a misperception to our members or anyone else. So thank you for the clarification.
Any other questions? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
Member Groves Allison.
Aye.
Fifteen ayes, 1 nay, with Member Elsesser voting nay. Next is item 9.2. Peoria County Jail Ring Road Phase 3 and Employee Parking Lot Engineering Proposal. A resolution from your Infrastructure Committee recommending approval of a proposal in the amount of $67,400 from Fair Graham Engineering and Environmental to provide professional engineering services related to the design of Phase 3 of the Peoria County Jail Ring Road and Employee Parking Lot.
Member Couch, Member Phelan. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please cast your vote.
Member Groves Allison.
Aye.
Sixteen ayes, 0 nays. Next is miscellaneous and announcements.
We will start on Member Elsesser's side. Member Williams.
I just wanted to congratulate Andre Allen and his family, who will be kicking off the Juneteenth parade on Saturday.
Member Duncan.
I would like to remind everyone of the Revolutionary War Patriot Plaza dedication ceremony at the Springdale Cemetery, and which will be held Sunday, June 14th, from 5:30 till 6. We encourage those to arrive a little sooner so that you can receive proper parking, get directions to where the location of the dedication service will be held. That'll be this Sunday, June 14th.
Thank you, Member Duncan. Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Member Rulon.
Just an update on a young man who was here a couple of months ago. Issa Zaid was our Peoria area spelling bee champion. He went to Washington, D.C. and finished 57th out of 457 competitors. So I think he did a great job representing us.
Anything from up here? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.